After creating my quarterly goals, I'm structured to plan my monthly projects. Now, like why they are like monthly projects and how is everything gonna flow. So don't worry, I'm here to help you guys. What we are gonna do is now break down the quarterly goals into monthly projects. They are gonna be maintained through monthly progresses. Then after doing that, we will be creating a weekly routine, and that weekly routine is gonna follow up through monthly projects. That this project is broken down into weeks, and those weeks are then having particular tasks. Now, like why am I not building a proper daily routine? If I have to say, what really happens is that if I'm basically covering up my entire week, I know what I'm doing. Mostly I have my Sundays off, so like I can plan my entire week ahead of my week even being started. And also is that if I have everything structured a day before, I know what I'm doing. And if I have structured 6 days before the entire week even starts, I know where am I heading. But also I cannot give out commitments to other people without even forgetting that I have other commitments as well. So that's how basically I manage my life. And by developing monthly projects and then breaking them down into weeks and tracking them on daily basis as well, I'm also know where am I heading. And the uniqueness is that I'm gonna use few handful of systems over here. In monthly projects, we are gonna use Hashinover matrix. Sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Basically, the Hashinover matrix defines which things are urgent and important as well. So they are gonna be handled personally by me. Which things are urgent but not important, so that I can delegate to somebody else or something else, or some system or some automation or anything. Which things are important but not urgent, so that I can move up them in my calendar and do them later. And which things are nothing, nor important nor urgent, so they can be eliminated from the list. Then what I'm going to do is, by developing my weekly routine in calendar directly, I will be using the factor of time blocking. So I know which my particular hours are going to be designated to particular projects or tasks. So I will have a more managed but more controlled environment in terms of my routine and everything, and in terms of my life as well. Also, what's unique is that on my daily basis, I'm gonna use the concept that Warner Buffett often explains, is that list down 25 things in order, and by eliminating the least 20 and just doing top 5, you know which things you prioritize the most. That's one of his key factors, and I've used it personally, so it's very useful as well. So that's how I mostly develop. And instead of just talking, now let's head into our computer and let's see how things are gonna work out. So after creating our yearly goals and quarterly breakdowns, now it's the time for monthly goals. So what we are going to do in this video is that we are going to work on this Hessenhover matrix while creating a task tracker. Now what is a task tracker for me? Basically, we will be creating projects and their subtopics, which are going to be breaking down into months, and then a weekly routine to basically determine what's going to happen in our entire week, and that weekly routine is somehow connected with our daily tasks. So that's how all the chain is going to work. So like without wasting any further times, let's move towards the Notion. And as we can see over here, okay, just for the information, while off camera I was working to make it more kind of you can say organized and better for my personal goals. I've changed my entire 5 year goals into more better ways. Also, the quarterly system that I created, I've added a part of life property. What does this do basically? By this property, I will be able to define which particular task is a habit, either a routine or goal, either a hobby that I have to work on, either a mission that I've chosen for myself, or a pillar of my life that basically supports everything. So, as we can see right now, I've just used one simple goal over here, the endurance and athlete thing. But, but if I really show you what my actual goal system is like, then that will be much interesting because it's going to give you a more detailed context on that. My second brain, and here's my yearly goals. Let's move in the source table, and this is what I'm really building for my own self. So here, as we can see in detail, that my each goal is either a mission, and my finance goals are the pillars. Why? Because they are the one that basically creates the entire system on financial supports and everything for myself and my life. So that's how I'm basically managing and building everything. So that's one change. Okay, then I have another change. Basically, it's a rating system. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rate whether I did this task one, means basically I'm gonna rate them out of five. So like if my progress was three, it's gonna be like third of the fifth. And this is a progress. So like what's the difference between a progress and a rating? Progress is something like out of predefined value. Like for me, I've chosen this task to do 230 days out of a quarter. Sorry, out of a year. So like if I'm working out for like straight 230 days, I'm gonna track whether how many years I have worked out or not. For example, I worked out for 200 days. So the progress that's gonna show up over here is defining that I have completed the task for about 86%. But a rating is something that I give them out of 5. It can be like, for example, I'm satisfied that I worked for like 5 rated, you can say. So like I'm satisfied with it because I have given myself 5, but you can give yourself something else. So that's how I created a rating system to basically rate out of 5, best out of 5. So like that's my entire goal tracker system. So what's next? What are we gonna do now? So how things basically gonna work is that I'm gonna create another database, and this will be named after my projects hub. Okay, but instead of creating entirely by ourselves, how about we take a help from pre-created databases, because eventually why waste time when there is something created out there. So we are going to choose task tracker. Why? Because I'm going to define why. So a past date. Okay. Okay. This property is something we have to basically work in more detailed manner. Let's hide this assigned property because I'm a solo worker. Let's delete these all concepts because they are being trickier. So I'm gonna add a property and it will be relation to our goal tracker over here and add single relation, I guess. Let's make it two-way. Enable it. Let's make it a two-way relation basically. What I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna create a task and the task will be complete 5k run without stopping. Okay, and I'm gonna give a date of an entire month. And now over here we are not gonna give priority. What we are gonna give is urgency plus priority, and we are gonna delete this thing because task tab is not something I'm comfortable with. Description is something unique. I'm gonna use that. I'm not sure about the due date, so I'm gonna delete that for a while. Effort level is something more required. And let's connect this to build the athlete system. That's more useful property, I guess. Now instead of using these properties over here, I'm gonna create urgent plus important according to the Hasanover system. Only urgent, only important, and another property, no urgent, not nor important. It's something that cannot be done or required to be done. So I'm gonna give it an important task. So now if I am having like a list of long tasks, so what's gonna happen is that in the day, at the end of the day, I know which thing I have to work on and which thing I don't really have to work on. So like let's settle some examples so that we kind of know what we are doing. And with much more simpler examples, I will be also defining you guys in more detail. So like let's add another value. Build a Notion OS, build a client outreach system, and things regarding to this. And I'm gonna set them to a different dates as well. Just for you can say like how things are really working. I'm gonna connect to like different things. But okay, okay. And over here I'm gonna set the effort level to understanding that how things are really gonna work. Now, like, I've created three examples, and if I really break them down, a client outreach system is something which is crucial for me because it's gonna fund me, it's gonna provide all the financial stability as well. It's gonna create new clients, which are eventually gonna be a huge benefactory factor for me. But running is something important for me, but it's not urgent. I can do it in like a day or two or three later as well. But building a notion is something requires urgency. So if I break this system in more detailed manner, and let's show you guys an example, what I really meant is that my internet is really killing on me, and I'm hating it every moment. So what does this Hassan over matrix do is it defines that when this task is urgent and important, we are gonna do it right now because we are not gonna waste time on it. But if that task is urgent but not important, we can delegate it. We can delegate to something else. Like for me, Notion databases are urgent because they kind of manage everything, but they are not important in factor of me personally doing them. I can delegate them to another person, I can delegate them to AI or anything else. But if there is a task which is important but like not so urgent for me, so I can schedule it for a time to do it later. Like for example, my 5K run. I can do it later because it is important for me, but not so urgent. But if there's a task which is not important, nor it's gonna require any urgency to do it, it can be eliminated because it's something that don't really benefit that a lot. So that's basically how I created mostly my monthly goals and everything. I hope you guys understand my point. And what different am I gonna do right now is that I'm gonna explain you guys a different thing in more detailed way. I'm gonna create a subtopic. Now the thing is why I'm creating subtasks is because, for example, to complete a 5K run required shoes, a running shoe. Do I have that? No. So like if I don't have a running shoes, how am I gonna run? So like that's a more important and urgent task to do. But it's urgent or important because it can be delegated to someone else. So are you understanding how am I gonna break them down into more small chunks of tasks so that I can assign them later to be done in more, you can say, benefactory but more in a simpler way. Also what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new data source over here. I'm gonna name this data source my weekly routine. Okay, and what's gonna happen over here is that this is my task tracker and this is my weekly routine. I'm gonna create this entirely over here, and I'm gonna write a small task for like create a system video. Okay. Now, why am I not using a, you can say, a proper template over here? The reason is that this is something that I personally use all the time. So it's highly customized by me. Then I'm gonna create a property select, and I'm gonna define, what should I define over it? Let's define efforts, because while always understanding that efforts and energy is something that require more things, I do know that when I have to do this or not. And what's gonna happen is that this is gonna be my weekly routine. So according to this topic, I'm gonna create a calendar as well. And it's gonna be connected to this. Not a table view, man. It's gonna be a calendar. Yeah. So I've created this, and I'm gonna date it over 30. Now on this calendar, what I'm gonna do is okay, wait a second. There's my calendar. I'm gonna define how I'm gonna use this. So there's the 30. Okay, this is the video that I was talking about. As we can see, this is connected to weekly routine. So now what's gonna happen is that I've got this video over here. Okay, wait a second. I've got this video over here, and I'm gonna time block it. Like, if I show you guys how I mostly do, then I know that this task is gonna happen in this particular slot of time while I'm managing thousands of other things. So that's how I do time blocking. And if we get back to that Miro mind map, I've created this as well this daily routine connected into the system of time block. But then there is one small thing which is system of 5 to 25 rule. So like, what does that mean? Basically, if we talk about Warner Buffett, 5/25 rule, sorry, what does he say is that if there's a list of things that you are required to do, like this, and there are a list of 25 goals in a total, you are just gonna do top 5 things, because if those 5 goals really matter to you, that's why you wrote them on the top. Are you understanding my point? So that's how basically I fundamentally build my entire routines, create systems, and do everything. So bye, and see you in the next video.